markets, yes, they rob and sold out to the merchant shelves. Minutes after they took out from the bottomless pit, my head was made strong by the hand of the Almighty. We forward in this generation triumphantly. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? It's all I ever have. Redemption songs, redemption songs. Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Oh, have no fear for atomic energy, 'cause none of them can stop the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Some say it's just a part of it. Got to fulfill the book. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? It's all I ever have. Redemption songs, redemption songs, redemption songs. Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Oh, have no fear for atomic energy, 'cause none of them can stop the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Some say it's just a part of it. Got to fulfill the book. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? It's all I ever have. Redemption songs, redemption songs. It's all I ever have. Redemption songs, redemption songs, redemption songs.
Hey, what's up, troops? Ops Sgt-Maj with Veterans for Freedom, back with you now on this 20th day of November, 2023. Got a great show lined up for you here today. We have friend of the program, Dacey, regular contributor, back with us now. He's always out there. We call it Muckraker Monday because he's always where the action is. He's on the ground getting all the best clips. He's got a great following over there on social media. They're showing his clips on Rebel News now these days. So Chris is really making some waves out there, and it's always great to have him on. I'm going to bring him in here in a minute, right after I say my good mornings. Dwayne over on Rumble, first guy on the board this morning, says, good morning, guys. Good morning, Dwayne. Thanks for being with us, brother. Terry on Rumble is saying, morning all, Boomer Terry here, and give us the triple slashy right back at you there, brother. I love how some of the boomers within V4F are really owning the boomer moniker here. It's pretty great. And Garden Flower says good morning over on Rumble, and over here in On the other platforms, we have Mother of the Drummers on YouTube. Good morning, Jeff and Chad. Good morning to you. Thanks for always being with us. Leanne says, good morning. Good morning to you. Susan is here, says, hey, Jeff, brother, always happy to see another Freedom brother, Chris Dacey, interviewed. Yeah, Chris is a pretty great guest. We have it on here. He's got all kinds of great scoops for us. And Shannon says, good morning, all. And Lori says, good morning, Jeff and Chris. Lori from Bell River, Ontario it is. But the one redeeming quality of the area is the motorcycle riding. And Janet says, happy Monday to all. Shared. Yes, please share this out, everybody. Patricia says, good morning, guys. And smiley face, good morning to you. Tracy's given us a whole bunch of nice emojis there, I think. So thanks, Tracy. Appreciate the sentiment. and Patricia says, I'm not late this time, but I'll have to go to work soon. Well, I mean, maybe 5 push-ups. And that'll even things out a little bit. And she says, okay, 20 push-ups for Jeff. Mother of the Drummers is saying, I'm not sure. Why do I owe you guys some push-ups right now? Cindy says, morning, Jeff. Hearts, morning, friends. Gives us a smiley face. Cindy is our most faithful wall watchers. Thanks for always being with us there, Cindy. We appreciate you. Steve says, good morning from Pembroke. Thanks, Steve. Good morning to you. And Tracy is saying, love from Niagara. Well, thanks, Tracy. Right back at you. And Tawny says, from the prairies, good morning. Special appreciation to all the Westerners for being with us so early. Keith says, morning, brother. Good morning to you. And Evelyn says, good morning. Good morning to you, Evelyn. Papa Squirrel is saying, cheers. Good morning, Papa Squirrel. And thanks for being with us, brother. All right. I'm going to go ahead and dive right into her here. We'll get the usuals out first, and then we'll bring Dacey in here in a couple of minutes. But here is our philosophy quote for the day. This is Mark Twain. Mark Twain was, of course, a famous author of mostly the adventures of Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn, which were loosely based on his own childhood, because Mark Twain is a nomad gener, so same generational archetype as Generation X, and those are the children who are raised as abandoned or wild children while the spiritual awakening is taking place. During the spiritual awakening, which is the second turning of the saeculum, or summer of the great year. And that's when the prophet generational archetype, the boomers in this case, are prosecuting the new spiritual awakening of the new religion for the saeculum. And this time around, it is postmodernism. And now that they're in their early elderhood at peak institutional power, they are reigning in the new theocracy of postmodernism, folks. So Mark Twain says, worrying is like paying a debt you don't owe. Yeah, I think that's a pretty, it's almost like advice. So it's pretty good advice, I would say. It really doesn't do anybody any help to worry about things. Generally speaking, like when I feel myself start to wallow and worry and things like that, I just get active and start. I always say that there's no better therapy than just working hard to solve your own problems. And as a nomad gener, Mark Twain would have lived through the major crisis of the Civil War in his era. As a midlifer, that's the kind of the life story of the midlifer, is they kind of get driven off to proxy wars during their early lives and then live through the major crisis during their midlives. So that would be the Civil War in his case. And for the previous nomad generational archetype, that being the lost generation, George Patton, for example, General George Patton, that is, and some of the other ones like Ernest Hemingway, Aldous Huxley, George Orwell. They would have lived through the Second World War as midlifers. So that is the life cycle of the nomad. Okay, and here is our meme for the day. And this is a Star Trek TNG meme. And you've got number 1, William Riker, sitting there next to the Deanna, the ship's counselor. And he's saying to her, my first home had a 4-foot ceiling. I couldn't stand living there. A little bit of a dad joke humor on my part there. I like dad jokes. I was a dad, so the dad jokes are very strong with me. So I need to bone up too. I need to keep practicing because my kids are all grown and gone now. Okay, and what is that in reference to? Here is here's the state of affairs in Canada here today. We have this housing crisis where we have more homeless people than we've ever had, and we're bringing in hordes of migrants from all over the third world with no place to put them, and they're turning up on the streets and left, right, and center. Now it's putting a real strain on resources in the shelter system. So this is Peterborough's solution to the problem. Here we go. All right, so if you're just listening, this is drone footage of these appear to be kind of like ISO shelters, like they're made from sea cans. Maybe these sea cans are cut in half or something, but they're even smaller than sea cans, and it's pretty incredible. Like they're probably about the size of a solitary confinement cell, and there are just rows and rows and rows upon them. And when you look inside here, it's just enough room to fit a bed and a nightstand, mini fridge, dresser. There's no toilet. There's no sink. And if I back that up again to get another look at the inside, look at this window up here. I don't think that meets egress standards. So if there's a fire, you better not hope it's in front of the door. But of course, everything in a space like this is in front of the door. So I guess you're screwed anyway. Okay, so pretty sad state of affairs going on out there right now with respect to housing and homelessness. And I think one of the comments I saw on some of these ISO shelters is, here's your new home, and they give you a free rope when you move in there. So here is pretty much, here's what comes next. Okay, Futurama, I think, was very prescient in this.
Listen, buddy, I'm in a hurry here. Let's try for a twofer.
Please select mode of death, quick and painless, or slow and horrible.
Yeah, I'd like to place a collect call.
You have selected slow and horrible.
Good choice. Bring it on, baby! Come on! Kill me already! By the way, my name's Bender.
Help! What's happening?
You are now dead. Thank you for using Stop and Drop, America's favorite suicide booth since 2008.
Lousy, stinking ripoff. Well, I didn't have anything else planned for today. Let's go get drunk.
There you go. Okay. So that seems to be the path we're headed on. And Cindy was just saying community bathrooms too. Kind of gross. Yeah, that's with respect to those ISO shelters that they built for the homeless, though. It's just incredible. They're going to have to go outside during the winter to use the washroom. And how long is it before, they just there's piss jugs on a hockey stick and trailer park supervisors falling around. That's a Trailer Park Boys reference there, guys. That was the funniest thing I ever heard on Trailer Park Boys. Was Bubbles was complaining about the fact that he can't do a commercial for his kiddie daycare without drunk trailer park supervisors falling around with piss jugs on a hockey stick. So I think that's where we're headed with that. And without further ado, let's go ahead and bring Chris Dacey in here. How you doing this morning, brother? Oh, I don't hear you. Can you hear me?
You broke up for a second. Hey, how's it going? Lost you for a minute.
Good. Yeah. All good. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. So, Chris, man, it's been, about a month or so now, I guess, since the last time we did this. How you hanging in there?
Yeah, it's been a little while.
Yeah. So why don't you give us the preamble here as to what all has been going on? Because you've been mostly on the Hill, I think, right? You're still sticking around the Hill for the most part?
Yeah. Most of the time in and around the Hill. Man, it's been busy. We probably haven't talked for at least a month, I guess, eh? So there's been lots going on. There's always lots of protests, of various types of protests going on. There's the regular politicians moving around. We had Remembrance Day recently, so there's been quite a lot going on downtown, as there always is.
Yeah, right on. And I have a request here. One sec. Steph says, can you play the video Chris Dacey took when he convinced Save Canada boys to strip down to their boxers? Who's that? Is that
I
something
don't recall that.
you don't recall that? Okay. All right. I'll
No, there was one when there was a swimming pool or something, but that's probably a troll.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this does look like a troll. I think I'll just go ahead and get rid of that disgusting.
There's a lot of confession by projection from these people. Like they'll call me a groomer all day long as they are indoctrinating and grooming the crap out of everyone.
Yeah, exactly. It is all projection. It's really incredible. Like I think once you kind of recognize that and put that lens over it, even in the comment wars and stuff like that, people are always calling me a fascist, and I don't think they know what that means. It's pretty clearly projection. Okay, let's go ahead and see what we got lined up for today here. Here's Dacey on his Twitter. Go ahead and give him a follow at Chris Dacey. And he says, Phil on the Hill, day 18. Injured Canadian Armed Forces veteran Phil Brooks is facing a threat to his income, the suspension of his injury entitlements, including his medical supports. After 18 days with no help from the government, Phil is going to begin the next phase of his project, a hunger strike. Phil is one of many veterans and many Canadians asking for more than our government has to give. Pretty sad state of affairs. What is, do you want to tell us a little bit about Phil's story here before we line this clip?
Yeah, definitely. So Phil is a Royal Canadian Air Force veteran. I believe he served over 12 and a half years. He was injured pretty severely while serving. He was by the door of an aircraft. It may have been Buffalo. I don't recall exactly, but he was doing something anyways, and he got thrown from that door into the tail of the aircraft. So like about 15 feet into the tail, landed on the ramp of the aircraft. Ended up either breaking his tailbone or his back. So he was pretty badly injured there. He kind of just happened. And later on, he was also one of the many members that was given the drug mefloquine. He was going to deploy over to Africa for a mission, and he took that before going. He didn't end up deploying on that mission, but he still took the drug and ended up quite sick from it. So he's facing quite a number of issues. Still has problems with the back. Still has quite a few issues from that mefloquine, and this isn't the first time. So he's been kind of like arbitrarily suspended. It's like an insurance company basically doing this stuff. So some type of bureaucrat somewhere for some reason decided that he wasn't entitled to his injury entitlements. So he's been having quite a few issues, and he was down on the Hill. I met him a little bit before this, but he'd been down there 18 or 19 days straight. Wasn't having much luck. Just parked out in front of the House of Commons. So there'd be MPs walking by him every single day, basically ignoring him. And so he decided to go on a hunger strike. This was the first day, or when he was about to start his hunger strike. So phase 2 of his operation.
Yeah, that sounds like Manulife, and those are the benefits that we get after being medically released from service, and that is a very common theme I see out there with a bunch of different veterans coming out and speaking up about the kind of insurance abuse taking place. So let's get a look at what Phil is up to here.
Yeah, brother, we're all together.
Phil on the Hill.
And we're going to get there.
It's something that me and my colleagues fight for. We believe in it rather a lot.
That's right.
Our lives on the line.
Exactly right.
So you're day 18 already?
This is day 18. And what's different about today is that despite the fact I've been here for over 2 weeks on day 2, the senior cabinet minister, Judy Stroh, came out and talked about she didn't come out. She was passing by, but she did come over and talk to me. And she said she heard what I had to say. She was very kind and polite and said she would inform the minister. Well, that was 16 days ago. I've heard nothing. I've been here every day at their front door, and still no change. Still the threat to my income remains. There's notice of intent to suspend my injury entitlements, including on medical supports. That's not acceptable for me and for any veteran. And so tonight at sunset, we start phase 2 of Phil on the Hill, which is a hunger strike. It will be a limited hunger strike. I'm very weak already because I have encephalopathy, so I'm pretty vulnerable. I can't say that I have my doctor's permission, but I have consulted with them, and I'm going to be taking a nutritional supplement and water, and I think that will keep me alive. And the point has to be made. You can't ignore the veterans any longer. My brothers and sisters are literally dying in the street. this house is sitting on unjust enrichment, not millions, but billions of dollars that has been wrongfully withheld from injured veterans. And they have split the community through instituting 3 different regimes of entitlement. So nobody really knows what they're supposed to get anyway. It's all maladministered. And we've lost our hospitals and doctors. We still have injured people, which is what happened to me. I can't get into a hospital in Canada. So this is really important. I appreciate you guys coming here to talk about freedom, because this is at the core of freedom. If you do not take care of your first responders, of the military people that defend your borders when bad guys come, and when Mother Nature comes with floods and hurricanes and tornadoes and ice storms and forest fires, like none of this ever happens in Canada, of course. Now, I've flown all those missions myself. I've attended forest fires. I've done evacuations in communities. I've seen Canadians when they need the military. That has not gone away. What has gone away is your military. We can't keep people in. People are showing up the recruiting office, and that's because I won't tell my family to join after generations of military service. It's not fair.
The way they're treating you, for sure.
It's not that the job that's not safe. It's never been safe. Coming home is not safe. That's got to stop. Right?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'll be here, and we'll keep sharing your story. Hopefully we can get some traction for you and make a difference for you and some others in need.
I appreciate the support from the public. I will say that the Canadian public is invariably 100% in support of their military and of the first responders. We have issues with policing in Canada. We have issues with abuse of authority. Those are systemic issues that we need to address. But who holds the fort together? Who comes to get you when your house is on fire, when you have a car accident, or like I said, when there's bad guys at the door, which, by the way, there are. Yeah. So this is important, and again, thanks for the help, everybody.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Good stuff. Yeah, he makes he touches on a lot of good points there. It's not just the widespread fraud, but the obvious betrayal, I think, of veterans, and how you can't keep people in. You can't. He said something about he's the last in his family after generations of military service to serve in the military. Like, he's not encouraging his kids to join. I've even said here before, I talked my own son into joining myself, because it is just kind of this criminal cabal at this point in our history. So. And he's got mefloquine poisoning too, I think you said, right?
Yes, yeah, and I mean quite severely. He's an incredibly smart individual. He was a navigator. He's done quite a lot of extensive training. He also studied law. He worked in a lot of different capacities, and he has moments where he's very well spoken and lucid, and there's other times where he starts to have an episode, and I mean, it's pretty hard to watch. You probably know a few people that suffer from that as well, but it's unbelievable the damage it's done. It's wild. And I mean, he still has his faculties, just times where he can't use it, right? Like, so it's quite a hard thing to watch.
Yeah. And quinism is not recognized.
It's important that people see this.
Yeah. Quinism is not recognized by the federal government either. I mean, I think they were giving us like triple the dose that some of our allied nations were getting, and all kinds of stuff. But the government had never recognized it because they'd have to acknowledge that they did it to us, and that would open them up to all kinds of lawsuits. I myself, I was in Afghanistan and Iraq, so I took mefloquine on both of those tours, and I got to wonder, how much of my current woes are rooted in that. But it is something that's very common. And he touched on the recruiting and retention crisis in the Canadian Armed Forces right now. And of course, woke Wayner, General Eyre, was going crying to the parliamentary committees about it. And of course, it's all a mess of his own making. But I thought I'd throw this in here because I saw it making the rounds out there. It's Noah Chartier, and he is apparently he's got the response to a FOIPOP, I assume he submitted. He says, official attrition rates and recruiting numbers for the Canadian Armed Forces, Reg Force 2023, net loss. And the ones leaving are taking tons of experience while the recruits will take years to fully train. Reg Force lost 3,400 pers this year as of September. So There's the graphic that he's tweeting out, and it's month by month. And as you can see, every month here in the cumulative net change year to date is a negative number. They don't give a total at the bottom, but we got negative 64 in the month of January, and here in the month of September, negative 321, negative 355, negative 509. Like, so they're just hemming people, and you know, it's really no mystery, I guess, to those of us who've served, why that is.
Yeah, and a lot of these people that are leaving. I know I was talking to someone recently, and I forget what the number of currently like flying CF-18 pilots I think it was, but like the number was shockingly low, shockingly low. So I mean, these are people that take years and years and years to train, cost millions and millions of dollars to do it, and you know the pipelines are just not putting people through now, right? So there's a lack of retention. There's also a lack of people coming in. And from what people I've been talking to, I think there's a pretty big morale problem too for the people that are in. So a lot of issues facing the forces right now. I don't really know what comes of that. It's quite concerning.
Yes, indeed, especially given the current state of affairs in the world and in Canada. I mean, it's not like we can't see these kind of global security issues really coming to the fore, even as we're destroying our own military. And the other thing about it too is it's like if you don't retain people, like he points out, if you don't, if you're losing all this training and all this experience, and at the same time we're not able to keep up. Like we wouldn't, even if we could get all of the recruits we needed in uniform, we wouldn't be able to keep up with the attrition through training. And the thing about the attrition is when you lose all your qualified people, like who is training the new recruits? Who's going to mentor the next generation? I mean, everybody's left, so there's nobody left to train.
Yeah, that's a really good point too. Yeah, and then I mean this is training and experience that without these people that have lived through it and done it before, it's not something you can just teach a random person. I mean, it takes this history and this knowledge that's been passed down generationally, right? Like, so it's it's very concerning. And Phil touched on another thing there too, like what happens when we have natural disasters and we rely on our military in Canada. I mean, often that's been the case when disaster strikes, the military comes in, but I don't know how deployable they are even in Canada. It's pretty concerning.
Yeah, absolutely. And with all these arson attacks all over the country, just last fire season there, we're severely hamstrung, I think, in terms of our ability to respond to these natural disasters, be they flooding or forest fires or whatever. That's another one of the kind of core mandates of the CAF. Okay, so here is another one from Phil on the Hill here. Day 41, shout out day. As Remembrance Day approaches, our thoughts are with those who made the ultimate sacrifice in service to Canada. Let us not forget the many currently serving former members who are being left behind by our government. And this is 2 p.m., 1400 National War Monument, Ottawa, Thursday, November 2nd, National Injured Veteran shout out to Canadians. And it's for a live stream that you're doing. Share your VAC troop if you have experienced medical interference, maltreatment, mismanagement, sabotage, overstepping, termination, or other abuse of authority. Live stream today between 1-2 minutes. Okay. Use the hashtag Phil on the Hill. So, man, oh man, I think that would apply to a lot of people, actually. And Susan was just chiming in there saying, I'm sure insurance companies are instructed, as usual, to cut them off all benefits. No doubt in my mind, they're in the business of making money, not helping people, speaking from experience. Yeah, I think that's pretty standard, actually. And it's Manulife that we're talking about here. Manulife, that used to be Sun Life. And we all pay those premiums our entire careers so that we're covered, for when we need it. But I think that there's the kind of game that insurance companies play with their payouts, where they'll nickel and dime you, or they'll deny all claims up front and make you fight them in order to get their claims. And in this case, we're talking about people who have some loss of cognitive function and, obviously depression, suicidal ideation, all that stuff is a factor. So putting somebody in that situation where they're going to have to fight for their veterans benefits, that they even paid into, I think only serves to exacerbate things like depression and suicidality. So it's pretty terrible. All right, here is the Phil on the Hill, day 21.
Hello.
Hey, Phil.
I'm back.
There you go.
Okay, so day 41 of Phil on the Hill continues. Look at this. This is a pretty interesting phone call. I've been talking to the members of Parliament who are supporting this campaign, and things get a bit more dicey once it becomes foggy. It was very clear when I first came here, let's get Phil a meeting, and we understand that his pay has been threatened. And then they achieved that. They brought me into the Standing Committee of Veterans Affairs. Different politicians said my name 5 times a week and put it on the parliamentary record. So for the 21 days that politicians had walked directly past me on Parliament Hill, right outside the front door where they go to work every day, and now they're all wearing poppies, right? And they didn't even look at me. They would strain their neck to look away for 21 days. And so finally, 5 politicians put my name on the record, or 4 politicians 5 times, and the minister had no choice. And she turned, of course, in the cameras in the middle of the meeting to say I'd be pleased to speak to any veteran. So I took the meeting right away while I still could. Plus, it was going into my 4th day of a hunger strike. I had friends that very much wanted to feed me. I needed to get home to my wife. And so I had this meeting with the minister, and I thought that we had made some progress. I don't remember it, but it was recorded. We have a transcript. And apparently I was very clear about stating what my issues were, that I wanted my pay not cut, and that I wanted them to recognize my 100% disability, like Revenue Canada and my doctors and everybody else in Canada, except the people that are supposed to be looking after injured veterans. And so we walked out of this meeting on October 19th thinking that my pay was in place and that I was safe to go home to my wife, who's a brain cancer survivor. She's not here because I can't wear her out. And she suffered 3 concussions on her. She's had 2 open brain surgeries for her brain cancer, and yet looking after me. So it's not fair what they do to families. Literally injured my spouse by leaving me neglected and abandoned. One occasion was right here in Ottawa. I came up for a veterans rally to support a motorcycle fundraiser for veterans, a big group of people with a good cause. And I stayed for 4 hours too long, and then I collapsed and had very sick and had a seizure, and only my wife was there to look after me. Eventually, friends got us to a motel so I could recover. And then her fall. Because they just leave us there in the street. I have friends who are calling me. There's a lady who was in the news recently. I think it's Christine Gauthier is her last name, Captain Air Force. She lost use of her legs in a training accident. I believe she also lost a child, and she was in the news. Veterans Affairs gave her all kinds of trouble about her status and her injuries, eventually recognizing it. And while she was in the news, they promised her a wheelchair lift for her house. And it's not cheap. I don't know, $50,000. Who knows? It's a construction job for a piece of certified equipment, so it's not cheap. But she got injured on duty. She can't walk. She will never walk again. She's a young lady. She's got a family to raise. She needs a wheelchair lift for her home. That's supposed to be promised by the government of Canada. As soon as she was out of the limelight, Veterans Affairs simply stopped the game and refused to pay. I've seen this over and over again. Another friend of mine who was poisoned on Navy ships with a chemical they used to use to clean it. He ended up dying of those injuries. Are basically like ALS or Lou Gehrig's disease, as his toxic effects of cleaning chemicals on Canadian Navy ships took hold and eventually took his life. Now, he tried to save his own life, him and his wife. They sold property and they went to Germany and they had some stem cell treatment, the last ditch, and Veterans Affairs promised to pay something like $50,000. Same thing happened. They came back and they wouldn't pay. But the lady ended up losing her house and her husband. She just passed away this year. And why is that? Is it because there's not enough money at Veterans Affairs? Is it because there's not enough taxpayer support for the veterans? No. Well, that's not at all. Taxpayers, I've never met a single Canadian citizen once who doesn't want veterans treated with care, with dignity, and have the full measure of medical resources to try and get their young lives back. But they have closed our hospitals. The military hospitals are all closed. They have closed the veterans hospitals. They still leave some signs on buildings to fool the public. There are no federally paid veterans care institutions anymore. There's a few beds left for World War II veterans, and that's it. And when they're gone, those beds don't get replaced. I can't get help as a modern veteran, and neither can others. So today we're doing a veteran shout out. That's what this day 41 Fill All the Hill is. That's why I've come back to Parliament Hill. I'm going to do a brief live stream myself. I'm encouraging all my veteran friends to use this opportunity to do a veteran shout out, a true shout out to Canadians. We'll let this ceremony go past. I'm going to be quiet.
Yeah, so the rest is just the changing of the guard.
Okay.
Don't need to necessarily watch that. If people want to watch that, they can check it out on my wall. It's up there, but
yeah. Follow Dacey on Twitter. At Chris Dacey.
Yeah, so he touched on a lot of things there, man. It's I mean, just the raw emotion that came out there a few times. It's it's pretty real. His wife has been injured trying to take care of him. His wife is also, she's a brain cancer survivor. She's had a couple of brain, open brain surgeries, and for him, after he's been left, to his own devices, and she gets injured, like it's completely unconscionable.
Yeah. I tend to agree, obviously, being a veteran. And I guess I'll point out too that this itself, this need for veterans to kind of rise up and fight for the kind of benefits and care that they were assured would be available to them if they were injured in the line of duty. This is something that is also part of that cycle of history that I'm always talking about. It was the lost generation returning from World War I who had to fight for those benefits to begin with, and would have established the Legion, I think, right after World War II. And so, it is kind of just one of these things that by the misfortune of having been born during the awakening of being the second generation born after World War II, we're going to have to fight for this again. So, it is just another part of the life cycle of the nomad generational archetype, I believe. And one question we have here, this is Phil Premu on Facebook, and he's saying, now I believe Phil is one of these Gold Prime Media guys, which is Rage Farm Media on Facebook, and he says, weren't you claiming Dacey wasn't one of yours? Dacey, do you want to maybe just kind of clarify the relationship here? Because
I mean, I'm a civilian. I'd never served. I'm a friend of V4F. Some members of V4F, maybe people have the wrong idea of what V4F actually is. I mean, I've gotten to know a bunch of you guys personally from the very start. I know Drew quite well, and I don't by any means know all the members, but I've been doing film and getting to know you guys for a long time. There's people in V4F that have been great mentors to me. We work together, and it's the veteran cause is one that's been close to my heart for a long time, well before I knew you guys. So it just kind of was a match that made sense to me. It's been, I think it's been helpful for all of us, honestly.
Absolutely. Mutually beneficial. It's a partnership, I guess you could say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We got to connect with different people.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're part of the freedom movement, and we have allies in the freedom movement. But Veterans for Freedom is like members of Veterans for Freedom are exclusively veterans, so people who have military service. And then we have our supporters, and Dacey is one of our strongest supporters, and he's a really good friend of the program and of the organization. And of course, we appreciate what he does. So we do our best to support him, and he returns the favor. So that is the clarification. I hope that you're looking for there, Phil. It's
yeah, I don't know if he's implying like I don't work for you guys, like you guys don't work for me, you know. We're and even now, like, yes, you're you know, you got the Veterans for Freedom podcast, but you're also an individual, right? We're all individuals here, so I don't think it's that complicated.
So anyway, I hope we've clarified that to your satisfaction there, Phil, because you know, in order to
wear the hat, so take that for what you will.
I know I've already explained this previously in some comment sections, but you know, it's all good, guys. All right, so here is the next one. Op Beacon, Phil on the Hill, day 42, hashtag fallen at home. All right, so he's doing rest on arms reverse here on or no, that's a cane, isn't it? I thought he was doing
it's kind of like a cane slash like kind of like a ski pole type thing. So like at this point, this was later that evening after we had talked. So this is something he does every year. It's called Op Beacon, and he does this at a different memorial every year. Same type of idea that he explained earlier. Trying under the hashtag Op Beacon, hashtag fallen at home. So to bring awareness and attention to the plight of former, you know, so currently serving our former members that are suffering here at home with no help, basically. So I mean, he was up there for a good 2 hours that evening. It wasn't warm before another vet came. We'll get to that later, but another Air Force vet came through, and it was quite an interesting story. But for him to stand there, I mean, for 2 hours like that is no small feat.
No,
it's quite a powerful and poignant moment. You know, no one around. Just, you know, there's no really other vets. There was some stuff going on. You know, news setting up for the ceremony, which would have been the next day. This is November 10th, so the evening of November 10th. But it was quite quiet. It was pretty moving. We had some people come through and talk and some good conversations. But it was poignant.
Yeah, right on. And do you know where the beacon comes from? I mean, I can see that he's got a couple of lanterns stand here, but why Op Beacon?
Yeah. I don't know what the genesis of that name was. I think it's supposed to be kind of like a beacon of hope, or to get attention to this plight, I guess. I didn't really dig into the details of the genesis of the name.
Yeah.
But he's been doing this for years. So he goes to a different cenotaph or a different memorial every single year to do this. And I don't know exactly how many years, but he's been doing this for quite a number of years, every eve of Remembrance Day. So through the night into Remembrance Day.
Well, that's a good tradition to start, I think. Yeah, that's a good strategy. And
yeah, it was. I have to say, for me, it was pretty moving.
Yeah. Rob K is in the house, everybody. He says, good morning, all. /E. Good morning to you, Rob, but you're late. Drop and give me 10. All right. And here
it's getting off easy.
Yeah, I think so too. Usually it's 20, but I'm in a good mood today, Rob. So here's Dacey again. He says, at the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them. And this is a pretty good clip, I think, of the flag. This is the night before Remembrance Day.
Yeah, exactly. So this is kind of in between. Phil had been out for a bit, taking a little break, and I just went out to spend some time at the memorial while he was warming up. So,
okay.
So I got the flag at half mast there and the memorial in the background.
Yeah, nice shot. All right, here we go. Nice. And I gather you added the music to that there, eh, Dacey?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there was some interesting times. So they were setting up for the Remembrance Day stuff. So me and Patriot Smoothie Jonathan did a walk around the day, like the 10th, looking at all the different plaques and things, and it was quite interesting because they were playing Highway to Heroes or Highway of Heroes repeatedly on the sound. So it was pretty moving, honestly. So we start walking around, all of a sudden the song comes on, and we were kind of just walking around and showing the different statues and plaques and things, and having a talk. But that was quite interesting as well.
Yeah, nice.
People want to see those lives. We did a live that day at the memorial, like for about an hour. Then John and I went to Beechwood Cemetery, which is the National Military Cemetery here in Ottawa, and did a walk around there. So it was a pretty pretty moving day. It was good. I think it was good.
Yeah, right on. No, it's a great shot here. Very powerful stuff. Okay, and here you guys are. This is Chris Dacey on the left, Patriot Smoothie on the right, Phil on the Hill here in the center. Beacon, hashtag Phil on the Hill, day 42. And Patriot Smoothies, or Dacey's reach waiting Patriot Smoothie here. Says, amazing story for you tonight. A veteran walking by saw Phil on the Hill, Philip Brooks standing solemnly at the War Memorial for hashtag Fallen at Home, Beacon. The veteran then talked to Phil, and now Phil is comfortable spending the night at the Chateau Laurier in between shifts at the memorial. Sometimes you get what you need. Yeah. You don't always get what you want, but you get what you need, I guess. So you guys got to stay at the Chateau Laurier?
Yeah, Stace got a blue star. We got in there, yeah, and Phil had a room. So Phil had been standing. It was after that picture you just showed. I mean, he'd probably been standing for a couple hours, and I mean that's no easy thing to do. There's a couple of times where there's a little bit of movement in him, and I was wondering how long he was going to stay or how we'd get him down off there. And just as these things happen, I mean, a vet happened to walk by, and an Air Force guy too, and we talked for maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, where Phil was still standing, and he decided to go up and try to talk to Phil and just see what was happening. And within 5 minutes, the two of them were coming down for a little break. And we originally went in to go get hot chocolates. So we all went over. We were also with Lynn Brooks from Canadian Women for Freedom, happens to be Phil's cousin. Small world. So we went over for hot chocolates and to warm up. And actually, the Chateau Laurier ended up giving us all a round of free hot chocolates, probably $15 hot chocolates. So that was nice. And once they heard his story, they ended up finding a room. Beautiful room that looked right down onto Rito. You could see the memorial from it. It was incredible. So Phil got a place where he could warm up and get himself together before he went out for his next shift. So he went out again at midnight. We were there like over midnight and maybe till 2 a.m. Then he was back there for sunrise. I was back a little bit later, but so he had a nice place to go and just make sure he was well looked after. So it was incredible, actually.
Nice, right there in Chateau Laurier. How was the view?
It was unreal. Like from the window, you look out. So, and then there's a Senate directly across the street. If you look left, it's the infamous Rito and Sussex kind of area. And then you look to your right and you can see the memorial. So, I mean, couldn't really have had a better view at all. Nice. And the next day, you're able to see down from there. Like you could see the ceremony. You can see as Trudeau left and just little handshaking there on his way out. Like you look right down on it. It was kind of perfect, actually. Couldn't have scripted it better if I had tried.
Nice. Well, it sounds like
it's like John said, man. Sometimes these things come together and you get what you need.
Yeah, that's
pretty powerful.
Here, yeah, very much so. Okay, what's going on with this one here, Dacey? So, the tweet is a lone counter protester blasts horns and sounds at Chris Barber and Tamara Leach as they enter the Ottawa courthouse for day 20 of their trial. So
that's a little while back now. Day 20, it's months into the trial. It's on hiatus right now, but there's been this one protester. Sometimes there's a couple, but this one protester here, Purse Nuggets, comes and basically blasts horns and follows them and yells at them, and every day in front of the courthouse. So that's just one of many clips like this, but this one was kind of good, I thought. Honestly, I feel like it's like, I don't know what you said. It feels like to me like it's wrestling. Like if you were a wrestler, this would be the entry music, man. It's pretty good.
I've showed a couple of clips of her Purse Nuggets. Where does that name come from? First of all, why is it Purse Nuggets?
I don't know. It was hers. I didn't give her that moniker. That's just what she went by. So I just go with it. And I prefer to use that than to, like, we do know her name. I prefer to use that. I'm not looking to try to dox anyone or
Yeah.
I just find sometimes you need to show this stuff. You don't want to give too much air to this stuff, but I mean, every once in a while you got to show what's going on, right? So.
Yeah. Okay. And it's a good compare and contrast. I did this on the program here before. The compare and contrast between the kind of left and right archetypes right now, where we have Tamara Leach, who's in her early 50s and looks like $1 million, and here we have this leftist who's probably in her early 20s, and Jesus, man, she I mean, just a paragon of dysfunction, I think. Here we go.
That's how peaceful to you?
So she's playing the horn sounds from the convoy and saying, does that sound peaceful to you? as if blowing a horn is violent.
How peaceful does that sound? Good luck in court. Your convoy. Super peaceful sounding, eh?
And Chris was just saying music to our ears. Yeah, sound of freedom.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, man. Well, that was kind of like a universal, like man, the amount of comments like that. Same with that wrestling thing. Someone says, like if I was a wrestler, that's how I'd come in.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly.
and you see Chris walk in. Chris is always so calm, like respectful, big smile. And Tamara, man, just pure class, right? Coming in, you have someone that's stalking them basically daily. She follows them around on their tricycle and gives them all a hard time, accusing them of all these things without evidence, really. As she literally stalks them and blasts music in their ear, on the way to court every day. So
it's all projection, folks. That's how the evil mind works. It just projects all of its own evil, inadequacy, pedophilic impulses onto the rest of us. So, and here is Purse Nuggets again. I mean, if this isn't stalking, I don't know what is. It looks like she keeps hiding behind this sign here. So
she's literally stalking. Look at this. Morning.
Smile.
Gotta charge those batteries. Stalking complete. Purse Nuggets returns to the tall grass.
Yeah,
she's stalking.
She looks like quite the dependopotamus, eh? She looks very buoyant, that one. I bet you she's very buoyant.
No comment.
It's really not hard to tell who the good guys and bad guys are in all of this, right, folks?
Oh, I know. It's not even like there's a gray area here. It's so clear. So clear.
I know. They're so awful, right? They're just terrible people. And they're emboldened and empowered by our awful leadership at this particular moment. And here's Dacey again. He says, Wellington Street was closed today by Ottawa police for a large group of trans activists. The crowd was using amplification devices that we have been told there is zero tolerance for. Multiple people have been arrested recently for using similar devices. A member of the crowd also assaulted truck driver Pleb as he was trying to film. Who are the fascists? It's them. It's projection. And yeah, wasn't there, because I remember showing a clip of yours from a while back when I think it was the Save the Children convoy guys were showing up in Ottawa marching. And one of the first times they went down there was a guy who he ended up getting tased for using an amplification device, didn't he?
Yeah. That was a local. Yeah, he honked the horn, and then he walked out in the street, and he was taken down from behind and pretty violently and tased. There was another person arrested too around that time. When there was talk of that Save the Children convoy too coming in, they literally shut down the entire city basically, like all of downtown. There was like police resources like crazy, public order vans parked like doubly lining the street. There was cruisers on every corner, guys on bicycles, preemptively. Just thinking that something might happen. And then when you get a group like this, they literally march them in, right? And they ignore the same things that, so a day or two before this, I was told, in no uncertain terms, that they would be enforcing all bylaws, zero exceptions. And then, a day or two later, clearly there are exceptions.
Yeah. A selective application of the law. That's tyranny.
Yeah.
All right.
Which is, yes, exactly. It's persecution.
Yeah.
worker it is. So here comes a counter protest escorted in by.
That was Clayton Goodwin of the Veterans Accountability Commission fame. He was the cook who never cooked anything. All he did was pack box lunches in Gagetown. And I don't even think he got a CD. He didn't even stay along for that. Didn't deploy. None of that stuff. So he's what we call a dependopotamus in the Canadian Armed Forces, and he goes around trashing all the real veterans for having courage. So that's Clayton Goodwin for you.
There's a real hate on for me.
Yeah, I can see that. Like he's always
he tells me to F off. Yeah, he tells me to F off by name, man. He takes his giant middle finger umbrella. These are the same people who have problems with the F Trudeau with the asterisks, right? And he's got his giant middle finger umbrella telling random whatever civilians to F off. It's a fine example he sets.
Yeah, it's like the epitome of evil, actually. It's okay when I do it. Yeah, that's the evil of it all. Okay.
Hey! Why are those noise devices allowed here?
We're fabulous, don't fuck with us!
Why is Bylaw allowing this noise?
We're queer! We're fabulous, don't fuck with us! We're here! We're queer! We're fabulous, don't fuck with us! We're here! We're queer! We're fabulous, don't fuck with us! We're here! We're queer! We're fabulous, don't fuck with us! We're here! We're queer! We're fabulous, don't fuck with us! We're here! We're queer! We're fabulous, don't fuck with us! We're here! We're queer!
These noise devices are allowed to be blasted in people's faces
We're
today.
here! We're queer!
We're allowed to blast noise devices in people's eyes. Ears
We're
today.
here! We're queer!
My friends were arrested very recently for less violently.
Trans rights are human rights! Trans rights are human rights! Trans rights are human rights! Trans rights are human rights!
I'm just wondering why the noise bylaws are not being enforced here. Like
I got my phone slapped. I got a
I got them hitting you. So
Trans rights are human rights! 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 Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Fascism has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Fascism has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Fascism has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Fascism has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Fascism has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho!
all right, so the street here, Wellington Street, is closed by Ottawa police and has been taken over by a group of protesters. They just smacked the pleb. The pleb got smacked. His phone got smacked. They're allowed to use as many amplification devices as they want, as their protest is government aligned. We'll see how this goes.
Wow. Yeah, and just a quick follow on to some of our comments there. Moving into that, here is the Wikipedia definition of oppression. And this is with respect to that selective application of the law, the noise bylaw in this case, where they go after all of the freedom protesters for having any kind of an amplification device. And as we can see, if you're protesting in favor of the government, which isn't really a protest, it's just cheerleading, but it doesn't apply to you. So here's Wikipedia. Oppression is the malicious or unjust treatment of or exercise of power over a group of individuals, often in the form of governmental authority or cultural opprobrium. This is related to regimentation, class, society, and punishment. Oppression may be overt or covert, depending on how it is practiced. Oppression refers to discrimination when the injustice does not target and may not directly afflict everyone in society, but instead targets or disproportionately impacts specific groups of people. Does that sound like what we're looking at right now, Dacey?
Yeah, but it's bang on.
Yeah.
And this has been, I mean, we have more and more examples of it. This has been ongoing for a long time. And you know, literally that week, like, and all I've said, like, I've had this conversation numerous times with police. If there's rules, we'll try to follow them, like if they're reasonable and lawful. Of course, we'll try to. But the rules are being applied selectively. They're only being applied to certain people, and that's a major problem. It's one of the reasons that people get so worked up with these police, because they're being treated completely differently. And then they see a group like this come in who can operate with impunity. There's a clear assault in front of how many officers there? Or a person walking up with the megaphone. I mean, those things are loud. That auditory assault is nothing to joke about either. And they're allowed to literally come in and take over an area. It's not okay. It's clearly selective.
Yeah, absolutely. It's unjust. It's tyrannical and oppressive. Obviously,
And I mean, we don't throw those words. We don't throw those words around lightly. It's not like we're just calling everyone. It's like they call us all fascists, right? Like I'm not throwing these words around, racist, whatever. Like, I mean, these are, you just put the definition up. Like, this is truly what's happening, and I don't say that stuff lightly.
No, me neither. I mean, I try to say what I mean and mean what I say. So that's what we're seeing across the board in Canada, is this oppression of a select group of us, I guess, who remain true to Canadian principles.
Yeah.
And that is part of the psychological operation.
And in Ottawa,
I was just going to say,
in Ottawa and on Wellington Street, it seems to be it's so extreme. Like, I know this stuff's going on everywhere, but like the examples are so blatant and in your face in Ottawa. Like, and this is almost a daily thing, right? It's not just this. I mean, this time it was trans activists. There's also huge groups of Palestinians marching through the streets, sometimes 10,000 at a time, escorted, basically allowed to do whatever. I'm not making a judgment either way about any of those. We don't need to get into all that necessarily right now, but I mean, clearly, there's one group of people who aren't allowed to do things, and almost everybody else seems to be, go ahead, just run roughshod wherever you want. It's quite wild to see.
I think there's one group of people who are allowed to protest or allowed to demonstrate. I think that's a better word for what they're doing. And that's the progressives, because as seminal third wave feminist author and leader of the progressive movement, Judith Butler, said recently, Hamas is a member of the global progressive movement. So it's an anti-Western movement. So as long as you're getting out there to demonstrate against Western values, culture, norms, laws, then you're good to go. But if you want to demonstrate in favor of those things or for a return to Western values, then you just get called a fascist and tased and arrested.
Yeah, that's actually a very good way to put it. You're right. It is the progressivism that's allowed, and what has been included in this progressive envelope at this point is kind of, so at one point the progressive causes. So you have the radical trans activists marching, that's allowed. You also have say this pro-Palestinian. Many of them are Hamas supporters, chanting from the river to the sea as they march through the streets. For people who don't know what that means, you should really look it up. It's not good, right? And then even though
it's called
you have this contradiction about, like, how does that trans group, yes, exactly, it's calling for genocide, yeah. And how does this align? How are these two causes both progressive? Because that other group would literally murder the people that were marching the day before, if you were over there. Like, so it's shocking, and it doesn't, it's not logical. It's very, very weird, very weird.
Well, as long as you accept that they are all in favor of the destruction of Western civilization, then it kind of makes sense. Now, they make for very strange bedfellows.
So they have an aligned goal.
That's right. Yeah, they're aligned along those lines, and they're anti-Westernism. That's where they converge. And I think you're right to point out that any of these people marching in this demonstration that we were just looking at, if they were to go to Gaza and try that kind of thing, then they would be dropped from the top of buildings. But good luck telling them that. I mean, they're in the trance now. So, all right. And here is a little bit more footage from what looks to be the same demonstration. Here we go.
Yeah. Hey. That's Pleb getting hit. Hey.
So for those of you who are just listening, there was a slow down piece where I believe this is the Pleb. Is it Dacey?
Yeah, it's the Pleb. Yeah, at truck driver Pleb, I believe, on Twitter.
Yeah, and what's going on here?
So he was down here as well. Like he was just walking there filming, and this masked person, fully masked, wearing black or whatever. He's got a little high vis vest on, but he's basically in blackout. Just smacks him, right? Like smacks him in front of multiple police officers on camera. Like, I mean, this is public video. Like that's clearly an assault.
Yeah,
and nothing done about it at all.
Nope.
Clayton gets right in there.
He tells the pleb, "Let's go."
So the police, the police officer comes in like pleb's the problem, right? Pleb just got hit. He's trying to film something. He's not yelling at anyone. He's not screaming. He's not using amplification devices or swearing. Mm-hmm. And he gets hit and he gets dragged out like he's the problem.
Yeah.
And that's a common theme with this stuff.
Yeah. Well, if you're on the progressive side, then he can do no wrong, apparently, in the eyes of the regime. And Rob K is saying Hamas is listed as a terrorist organization in Canada. Providing support to them is against the Criminal Code of Canada. Yeah, especially when it comes to providing material support. And I guess that fits in with this theme that we're discussing here of oppression. The progressive tribe has become the dominant tribe, and the order of the day is to oppress all the other tribes that are not in that progressive ideology. So, and it's an anti-Western ideology, like I pointed out. And here we go. Looks like a little bit more from the same protest further down the road.
Dacey. Transphobia has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Transphobia has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho. Transphobia has got to go. Hey, hey. Ho, ho.
Illegal, right? You know that's illegal, right? You know those noise devices are illegal in Ottawa, right? Transphobes have got to go. Hey, hey. Have got to go. Just want to get a shot of your communist hat.
Transphobia has got to go. Hey, hey. Transphobia has got to go. Hey, hey.
Transphobia has got to go. Hey, hey. The fascists here. Transphobia has got to go. Hey, I'm not starting anything. I'm filming. Transphobia. These people are putting stuff in my face. I'm walking.
Transphobia has got to go. Hey, hey.
Dude, I'm just walking. Filming. Excuse me, stop following me, man. What are you doing to me, man? What are you doing? I'm on a public sidewalk and I'm filming an event. That's fine. Excuse me, no, it's not fine. Please get out of my space. Why is this guy engaging me like this? Excuse me. I'm going to continue walking and filming, as is my right. You don't have a right to impede me for no reason. Right? Do you? I'm filming, man. They're yelling at me. I've been told to fuck off. I've been blasted in the face with sound devices. I've been pushed. That's okay. It's not me starting shit here, man. You're looking for trouble. No, I'm not. I'm here filming for a completely unrelated thing, actually. I'm trying to provoke. The people just screamed at me and told me to fuck off by name. And I'm provoking them? They also have plastered posters all over downtown with my face, lying about me. Wait, you think you know who I am? You don't know who I am. You don't know anything about me. But you don't get to intimidate and infringe my rights. It's not okay, man. It's not. You stand up and intimidate people in the street like that? Is that what police are here to do? Dude, that's not what you were doing, man. That's not what you were doing. Enforcing the law equally. We were told last week that everyone using an application device would be charged on this street. Now you've closed down the street and allowed people to blast those right in my face. Hey, man. Showing everyone who you are, man. Showing everyone who you are.
Frickin' unreal. And
Yeah.
Chris is pointing out the cops got the same faraway eyes as the protesters. Yeah, they're all in the trance, and that look is hatred. I think that's what's happening there. Is that cop hates Dacey for not abiding in the progressive dogma.
Yeah, not just capitulating to whatever that tyrant wants to do. You know, he wouldn't even look. He couldn't look me in the eyes at all. Couldn't look at me.
No.
And it's not like I was aggressive with that guy, man. I was pretty calm. Like he came in my face. He actually touched me. I didn't engage those people till that person with the communist hat hit me with her flag. She hit me with her flag on the way by, so I went to film her communist hat. I'm on the sidewalk. I wasn't impeding anyone. And to accuse me of incitement, and those people are literally telling me to F off by name and shoving stuff in my face and, you know, smack pleb. We're not there inciting anyone.
Yeah, it's all projection, like I keep saying. It seems to me like that cop, what he was saying to you about how you're looking for trouble and you're trying to intimidate people, that seems to be what he was doing. He was trying to intimidate you, and he was just itching for any reason to lay hands on you. Yeah.
I mean, well, and that's a big guy, right? He gets right up in my face. If I would have kept walking, or he touched me, what would have happened if I touched him? Would have been a very different story. And he's expecting me, probably, to lose my cool. And then what happens is there's an arrest, and then they ban you from 5. You know, I don't think that's legal either. But if you get arrested for any reason around there, they tack on this 500-meter ban, which would effectively stop me from doing what I'm trying to do, my activism or protesting or filming. It would keep me away from the area entirely. And there's been a few times where I feel like they've tried to engage me specifically, trying to provoke a reaction out of me. Luckily, I've been through this enough times, and it doesn't really get me so fired up anymore. But like, that's not an easy situation to be in. Massive armed man coming in your face. Like, there's, you know, hundreds of protesters that are against me. The police are in my face. It's just me there, basically, me and the pleb in this case. But I mean, I'm going to stand and film, and that's my constitutional right. I'm going to keep doing it, no matter what anyone says.
Yeah.
And if they tell me not to, I'm going to do it more, guys. So.
Yeah, good for you, Dacey, and like, way to keep you cool, man. You seem to have really mastered that. So we're very lucky to have you down there.
That's just reps, man. It wasn't easy at first, man.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. It's just reps. You got lots of practice now. And here is Bag Meat Singh. And what's going on here, Dacey?
So yes, as Dagmeat likes to do, he's for some reason cycling around downtown on his bicycle. There, he sometimes rides a tricycle. Today he's on a 2-wheeled bicycle, but he decides to come down and right past us for some reason. Often, you know, he likes to talk about his greenness and all this progressive stuff. So he'll get off. I don't know how he gets downtown, but, you know, he'll ride a bicycle a block in. You know, clearly it's a setup, right? He'll ride up and he'll park near the House of Commons, sometimes on his bicycle or his tricycle, and do his little photo op. But anyways, he was just decided to bicycle right by me. So here he is.
Okay.
It's good times.
Here he is riding. No helmet.
End your coalition, Jagmeet! Stop breaking the law! Lower your hand! It's against the law, right back on the sidewalk, Jagmeet!
Yeah, get on the road, guys.
You're breaking the law, Jagmeet!
What's happening?
On the street!
Come on!
Is that a V4F hat? Right there?
Where is that?
Oh, maybe not. Okay.
No.
Just rolling down the street. Look. Just goes wherever he wants, this guy.
Oh, yeah.
But across the street, down the sidewalk.
So he's going I think that there's actually exemptions for helmet laws, possibly for people with turbans. I don't know if that's still the case. I think at one point there was, but he's got no helmet. He's on the sidewalk. He's going the wrong way down a one-way. He cuts right through a red light. So, I mean, there's a few things going on there. I mean, I get that those aren't maybe those aren't indictable offenses, but like still, like, if you want to set an example.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Set a better example, man.
Yeah, if you're the lawmaker, if you're the one that gets to tell the rest of us what to do, you should at least set an example. I mean, you need to be above reproach in a position like that. And he's anything but. And you're right. It is.
Dude, I'd be in the back of a police car if I did that.
Yeah, 1,000%. And Chris is saying you're doing some awesome work, Chris. And yeah, absolutely. And I was going to say, yeah, that you're right about the helmet law. Like if you're Sikh and your religion requires the wearing of a turban, then you don't have to wear a helmet on a motorcycle either. But really, I tend
I
to
think
think
you
that
can
people
also you can also carry daggers and things, like depending, or swords, or
well, yeah, and you know what? I understand that it's unfair, and I hate that about it. But really, I think it's like it's all or nothing, right? Like, and I'm not really on board with the idea that the government has any business telling me what to do with what to do with my own body. So why the hell is it that they get to tell me I got to wear
yeah.
a motorcycle helmet or even a seatbelt for that matter? I think that's kind of where the line was initially crossed, was probably with the seatbelt laws, because this is my body. It's not the government's, and it's none of your business how
Yeah,
I recreate
it's definitely a
myself.
slippery slope too.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's where the slide
You know, it
started.
starts with this one thing that seems somewhat reasonable, right? And then it just keeps getting more and more and more. We got to do all these things for your safety. We're here to protect you, but really,
Mhm.
what you're doing is taking away our right to choose
Yeah, 1,000%. And you mentioned the daggers, the
under the
kurbans
guise of protecting us.
the Sikhs are allowed to wear, because it's a cultural thing, and the Sikhs consider themselves to be warriors in the service of humanity. Well, I tend to think of myself the same way, just being a veteran, and I'm not allowed to carry my sidearm. And again, I'm not saying that there should be a complete prohibition on these things. I actually think I should be allowed to carry my sidearm, but we're not, despite whatever cultural or historical kind of heritage that represents. And I mean, I'm a veteran too. So, okay. So here's Dacey again. He says, Justin Trudeau now getting into his armored vehicle behind the gates of his office. So let's get a look at this, and then I'll get you to give me a little bit of background, I guess, because I know this is getting to be a common theme.
No, I just missed him. He's in there though. So Justin Trudeau now leaving the office and getting in his vehicle in the back. Looks like he will be exiting. This is new. Normally he comes out and waves to the people narcissistically. Buckle up for safety, folks. Somebody's late. Somebody's late. Wait for me. We have a tyrant to protect.
How do you sleep at night?
Drugs.
Here we go.
Hey, Justin! Why did you forget about Canada's homeless?
Stop the war machine! 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 Stop the war machine!
Stop the war machine is right. The irony abounds, I think. So that seems to be, I've seen you post several videos like that, but that's standard operating procedure now. It's like this. I don't remember that ever being the case for the prime minister. I mean, there's a security detail, but it seems like it's just over the top right now.
Yeah, that was basically brand new. That's the first time I've ever saw that. One time we had a pretty big crowd, and they kind of distracted us a little bit, and they snuck him out a side door. It's kind of a situational thing. That was a change in procedure. Now, it's hard to say exactly why, right? So normally he would come out the side door that he drove past, and he comes out, and it could be 20 people, 100 people screaming at him that they hate him, and he'll stop and smile and wave, and he always getting into his SUV, he gets up above it and waves to everyone, like basically exposing himself, but waves and all narcissistically, right? Doesn't matter what you're screaming at him, he's like, oh yeah, we love you, whatever. So every time that I'd ever seen him, that's been the way he exits. Not only there, everywhere. This day was clearly different, and they pulled the vehicles in. They had those doors closed till the last minute. This may have been though around the time. I don't know if you remember, there was talk of like an international day of terror of some sort, or like there was some global stuff also going on. I don't know if that had anything to do with why he came in the back, but it was clearly a change in security procedures. And it's been kind of like that since. Actually, he's been a little more pulled back most of the time. Often the cars are there. They've set up different barricades and things, different ways to get in and out of the building. So it's definitely been a change in security.
He's probably going to need that for the rest of his life too. I think that's a big part of why he's so desperate to cleave to power. I mean, I don't know how a prime minister like that even gets to. Well, I don't think he should get to move on, as a free citizen or anything like that. I mean, there's been a pretty clear violation of like the highest law in the land and every human rights code in the books. So there should be some consequences for that, but
I don't know.
as long as he's the guy running things, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, we all know that that like you've seen the polling numbers. I mean, the way things are tracking, they may not even have a party by the end of all this. Which, I mean, okay, so be it. But he's definitely not. I mean, he's acting like he's loved to be loved, and yeah, I know we can hope. Yeah, it's just obviously it's a matter of time. But he's turning now to the Bloc Québécois to prop him up. So things are definitely coming all towards the end for this guy's reign here as leader.
Yeah. That's what it is. It's
leader,
all just a
tyrant, whatever.
Yeah, he's
leader is too nice a term for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, he's coercive, so that's not leadership. Leadership doesn't involve coercion. So, and here is Dacey again. This one is the world is upside down. So you're out at the Heritage Building here, and let's check it out.
Hey, this here. I am live in downtown Ottawa, outside the courthouse. I think it's day 23 of the trial of Tamara Litch and Chris Barber. But something grabbed my attention down here. Right beside the courthouse here, we have the Heritage Building. A Heritage Building. Wait till you see what they're doing here. So a lot of people may have seen this week or in the past couple of weeks, we've heard that prayer will not be allowed down the road here at the National War Memorial. They want to cancel prayer at the National War Memorial on Remembrance Day. We heard this week that Girl Guides will no longer be allowed in the Santa Claus Parade. So Girl Guides will not be participating in the Santa Claus Parade. And over here at this Heritage Building, we are celebrating the rich history of satanic worship, I guess. It's now a graveyard. The rich heritage. So we got no prayer on Remembrance Day. Look at this. It's a whole graveyard. Oh, man. It's the rich. Oh, thanks, John. Oh, I got my headphones back. The rich heritage of Halloween here being celebrated. Prayer no longer allowed on Remembrance Day at the National War Memorial. Girl Guides are not allowed in the Santa Claus Parade. This whole world is upside down, man. Upside down. I mean, people. Sorry, I'm a misogynist. The sun's coming out here, though, in Ottawa. I don't know. I just found that kind of strange. Not allowed to have Santa Claus parades or Girl Guides in Santa Claus parades. Not allowed to have prayer on Remembrance Day with veterans. And you can dress up the Heritage Building as a cemetery. There you go. That's Ottawa for you. Got to get to court. Dacey, out.
Yeah, it really is an attack on all that is holy, Dacey?
Oh yeah. I mean, and that's Mandela Square, I believe it's called. Like the human rights. Like there's like a monument right beside it, and I mean, not only did they have I'm not anti-Halloween necessarily, right? Like people can get into all that nonsense if they want, but like the drastic juxtaposition here, right? We're taking prayer to something. They have not only little gravestones, man. They had crosses in front of there, like actual crosses, and so I mean, it's a little much. And this kind of stuff is everywhere, right? Like it's meant to be in your face. It's meant to be in our face. It's not by accident.
And there is an attack, like a war on Christmas, war on Christianity. That's again, like it's a war on Westernism. And
and it was painful to listen to those two padres at Remembrance Day not pray. Like they spoke, two different padres, one quickly in English and French, and then a woman spoke longer. And they were doing everything in their power to not pray, and they're talking about inclusion and diversity and stuff like that instead of prayer. When has anyone ever had a problem with a prayer at Remembrance Day? It's tradition. I would have think that I don't speak for soul, but I know that there's probably lots of people and over the course of history that prayer was something that probably helped some of these people and got some of these people through some horrendous stuff. So to take that away and to take that tradition away is I don't even know what to say about it.
Well, it's heart-wrenching, I think, for a lot of people. And I say that as an atheist too. Like I'm not a faith or prayer or anything like that, but there doesn't seem to be any need of this. You know,
Well, and as so,
maybe
so let me
I
ask you
felt a
then.
little bit left out during the prayers when I was
Yeah,
in uniform, but I didn't take any exception to it. I understood that it was
that's what I was
helpful
going to
to a
ask.
lot of people, and people need coping
Yeah,
strategies, right? So
you didn't take offense to it.
no,
No, like,
no,
yeah, and I mean, like I'm of the opinion, if that helped your fellow soldiers or people going through stuff, not just soldiers, anyone, and if it helps them and it's not hurting you, then
hmm
I don't see an issue really. It's not like you're trying to cram it down someone's face or force convert them or anything like this. The other side's
exactly.
trying to convert us all to their new ideology, right? But
hmm
not trying to convert anyone.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And Chris is also adding that I'm atheist and I would like to see more of it. Yeah, you know, and the more, I guess, the more I kind of learn as we move through this crisis, the more I understand that, you know, we still kind of need religion in our society. Because it's just like Nietzsche said, the more we would secularize as a society, the more we would put the religious impulse into the state. And that's what I see people doing, like all of these deranged lunatics on the SJW side of things. They've imbibed these dogmas that were set down by the state, and it's become you know, a statist cult, and that's what communism is, and basically all authoritarian regimes are, is a form of state worship. And so when people,
Yeah,
when a lot of people, I guess, don't really have that higher power to worship. I mean, at the end of the day, that is what humans worship. It is power, and so they end up putting that religious impulse into the state. So probably as a society, we're better off with more of it than with less.
yeah, and I mean, people can say whether you believe in God or not, but like on a psychological standpoint, whatever you place at the top of your value hierarchy, that is basically in effect like your God, right? So if you take away God or whatever brings you your morality there, it's been replaced with this new ideology. I mean, it's being worshipped. It has replaced God in this sense. And in a purely psychological way, I think that's how it works. You need something at the top of that hierarchy to make for decision making and basically to live. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to make a decision. You wouldn't be able to move forward. So, you take out this the God part, and that's where a lot of our morality and our law comes from those teachings. You take that out entirely, make the individual the most important, whatever you want, whenever you want it, most important. You replace it with these other ideologies, man. We're just asking for trouble.
Yeah. Well, you need to have something in place of it. And I'll just throw in my 2 cents on this. And Chris Freestone and I are both atheists, so I'll throw what I think really what the world needs is more philosophy. But we don't teach philosophy in our schools. We don't teach critical thinking. It's not really education so much as it is training that we provide people. It's training for a specific task and purpose. It's training to go into a job market, but it's not training for being a good human, you know. And I think that's what's really lacking in the schools right now, is we're not teaching people how to be human, how to be a good human, giving them the coping strategies and the kind of critical thinking that they need in order to discern truth from fiction and propaganda. So we're not really arming people for the kind of spiritual battles that they're going to face in their lifetime anymore, and they end up falling prey to these ideologies.
Yeah, and that's interesting too. You say about philosophy. That probably is something that people should be studying a lot more. There's all kinds of different philosophers over the years, right, that have brought forward very very important ideas. I mean, if
Mm-hmm.
we study this, we can take the good, we can learn, we can compare and contrast, and we can move forward with what works and what's best, right? But
Mm-hmm.
people aren't learning this stuff. They're not studying it. Most people don't know about it at all.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't really discover philosophy until I was in my 30s, even though in a way I was always kind of practicing it, just the pursuit of truth and knowledge. And eventually I kind of stumbled into it in my early 30s, I guess. And I don't mean to overstate it either, folks. I say that I'm an amateur student of philosophy. So there's just so much to be learned. There's so much wisdom in a lot of the classical texts from, classical civilization, the Stoics in particular. I try to practice Stoicism in my everyday life, and it's a lot of it is about coping strategies and how to manage your emotions. And I think that religion helps people with that in a way as well. It provides them with those kinds of coping mechanisms. But obviously, I part company, I guess, when it comes to a belief in the supernatural, but that doesn't mean that I hate you and I try to proselytize to you or discriminate against your individual.
Well, it's like we've never had we never had any problem there. Like we can talk about what we think, what we believe, why, and you and I have never had an issue ever, really.
Absolutely.
As we shouldn't. We're both coming at this in good faith from slightly different positions, but we believe in the same, we're looking towards the same goals. I believe we want the same things ultimately for ourselves and for humanity. So we don't all have to agree. We don't all have to. In fact, we shouldn't. It's good that there be different ideas and we talk and that's how we all grow.
Yeah. Well said. Exactly. And okay, here is Dacey again, and he says, at the first National Remembrance Day ceremony that I can recall, without official prayer, CAF veteran Robin Trooper attended to ensure there was still, quote, a little bit of presence of prayer, close quote. Thank you for your service, Robin. God bless, lest we forget. And Robin is, I believe he's here with us this morning. I saw a couple of comments from him, and he's one of ours, a Veteran for Freedom, not to be confused with Veterans for Freedom supporter, Chris Dacey, just in case you're still listening there, Rob Primo. But here is Robin, proud member of Veterans for Freedom.
Tell everyone who you are. My name is Robin Tropper. On the internet, they call me Robin des Hauts-Bois. I don't know what much to say there. I just came over here to be a presence during these wonderful celebrations. Really happy with the turnout. And I also wanted to ensure a little bit of presence of prayer. Thank you. So I was born and raised Catholic, but I've practiced all kinds of religions during my day, so I don't particularly care what religion a person practices or doesn't practice or whatever they choose or not to. The thing is, in Canada, our Charter of Rights and Freedoms recognizes the supremacy of God. Say Allah, say God, say Bog, say whatever name you want to say, Hashem, Kitsi Manitou in Anishinaabe, whatever word you want. But that's something that we must definitely not lose, and we came really close to losing it at these here ceremonies. Yeah, it was a little tight. It was. It's unfortunate. And for me, the whole idea of inclusion, I do believe in inclusion. I do believe in diversity. And for that, let's bring us all together and celebrate our differences. It was good. So that's what it's all about, right? Under one flag. One flag. This is inclusive of everybody, period. Can I see the other flag real quick, guy? Yep. Just for everybody. There we go. Thank you, TFHG. Beautiful. Thank you, sir. Beautiful. Thank you, Veterans for Freedom. All right. Thank you. Anything to say, Chris? Thank you.
Great stuff.
First time I've ever had nothing to say. Happens once in a while.
Well, I think that Robin covered it very well, and I've been saying your name wrong too, Robin. It's Tropper. But for some reason, when I read it, I think Trooper.
I said Trooper for like the first year that I knew Rob, like forever. It automatically. I mean, you think like the Army cadet, like Trooper. It just kind of makes sense. But
it's fitting, I guess. And Rob is a musician, if I'm not mistaken. We have those in the military.
Yes, correct.
So, and that is kind of one of the most galling misconceptions about the military is how it's just this, kind of culturally homogeneous institution without any diversity. And the fact of the matter is you never meet a more diverse group of people anywhere. It's got to be the most diverse institution of all. We have all kinds of different people, different backgrounds, different trades, occupations, cultures, religions, ethnicities, you name it. So it's not all, it's not all the combat arms types either. And
it's true organic and natural diversity, right? It's bringing in people from all walks of life, like you say, for all different kinds of trades and different reasons. And that's the kind of diversity that we want, not this forced and imposed diversity, where you have to pick and choose based on whatever. I mean, this is true diversity. These are Canadians coming together. And that's the case with a lot of things we do. People call us, they'll say, oh, it's a bunch of whatever, old white racists and this and that. And really, that's never the case. We have people of all ages, of all races, from all areas of Canada that are coming together for these various things, and that is true diversity.
Yeah, exactly, and it's a diversity of perspectives and a diversity of thought. Whereas on the other side, where the die type folks, they're only interested in the kind of superficial diversity, like skin color and ethnicity and that kind of thing. But those differences are skin deep, whereas, you know, the true diversity is in the diversity of thought and perspectives and ideas. And here is just following the Remembrance Day ceremony. This is something that I had the pleasure of participating in multiple times, of course, while I was posted to Ottawa, where you go to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier and leave your poppy at the end of the ceremony. And then I get irritated seeing people walk around with their poppies still on after the ceremony because I'm crusty.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I've heard that. You're supposed to take it off after Remembrance Day.
That's right. It's after the 11th hour, after the ceremony and all that, you leave your poppy at the tomb. And that's you're not supposed to go around walking around with it for the rest of November. So
this is a pretty special tradition for anyone who hasn't seen this. I don't know how many years this has been going on, but this has been an ongoing thing for many years. Maybe quickly before we play this, actually, while I remember, I forgot to mention, we were talking about Phil on the Hill earlier, and the other Air Force vet that came and met him, and we ended up at the chateau. Interesting story with him. He was a member of the team that repatriated this unknown soldier from France to Ottawa. So when this soldier was put here, I forget what year that was now, he was part of the team that took that soldier from France back to Canada and was part of the team that repatriated him. So that was an incredible connection to this story as well.
That is pretty incredible. I guess he must have been air crew. He probably flew the Air Force, his air crew. So he probably flew the unknown soldier back to the tomb here. And Terry over on Rumble is another one of the Air Force guys on the team, and he says, "Wow, great stuff, Chris and Robin." It really is great work, Chris. But let's go ahead and get a look at this.
Sorry. Pretty special.
There's Robin.
It's an Afghan poppy he put on there too.
Nice.
Honoring their poppies, showing respect to the fallen soldiers of Canada, and those who have no grave and those who do. And very somber moment, the conclusion of quite a lot of effort here. And veterans of Canada. Thank you, everyone, for joining us on this broadcast from our nation's capital in Ottawa, Ontario, for this very special Remembrance Day. Every Remembrance Day is special. And as you watch the people put their poppies on our Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, which is a grave, and showing respect to that person, to all others who have died, both with graves known and known only unto God. So today we gather to remember them. Thank you again for joining us. We are now concluding our broadcast, lest we forget.
Damn, that's powerful.
My hair's standing right up. My hair's standing right up on end. Like,
I know, me too. I'm kind of a little choked up, actually. I think I was like, oh, damn it, he put music to it and everything.
Right, I know. The music makes a difference, eh?
Yeah, it really does. And even before I think the music was really kicking in, the thing that really strikes me is just how silent everybody is while this is going on. It's a very somber and solemn occasion. And if you
Yeah.
haven't had the opportunity to do that, any veterans out there, man, you have to do a Remembrance Day at the National Cenotaph someday. And I will again someday if I'm ever allowed in Ottawa.
Yeah. Don't need to get thrown in jail again yet, but yeah. What a crazy thing too, man. Imagine so you wouldn't even be allowed to go if you wanted right now.
No, I'm not allowed to go. So those are the bail conditions that were imposed on me after my second arrest at the National War Monument for rolling a thunder. The first one was during the trucker convoy, of course. And well, I mean, I breached my conditions when it's just so absurd, though. I mean, like, I wasn't allowed to return to the red zone when I was released after the trucker convoy, and apparently the red zone still applied when I went back months
I mean,
later.
it still may apply now. Like they're still trying to ban people from that area, and there's still people that are banned. I know a few people that, I mean, their cases are pending right now or going forward, but those arbitrary bannings are still in place. And now that you mention that, like, there's crimes committed in areas all the time for all kinds of reasons. I have never in my life seen this thing where you get tagged with this ban from the area of the crime. People commit all kinds of heinous crimes and don't get these conditions placed on them.
Yeah, great point. And in my case, the arrest at the trucker convoy was for an alleged case of mischief. Still unclear to me what I was doing that constituted mischief. I was just walking on the street. But yeah, I mean, for a case of mischief in a major Canadian city, I'm not allowed to return to that city until I have my day in court. So we never seen it.
Yeah, are you not allowed in Ottawa at all? Like Ottawa proper?
No. So initially,
so that would be, yeah.
It was initially the red zone, and then I went back for Rolling Thunder for the wreath laying ceremony that we had to restore dignity to the monument after they fenced it off, and then we took down the fence and they drug all the veterans off it. So we went back there, and of course, Chris Deering gave a really powerful speech. He was the one who was really particularly brutalized by OPS and OPP. I was standing right there with him when it happened, and we all went back to the monument to try to give dignity back to the monument and to the veterans who were oppressed. And anyway, apparently that was a breach of my conditions to not return to the red zone. So now when I let me out on bail, the territory to which I could not return was actually expanded to the greater Ottawa area. So that was why I had to stop at the sign for Arnprior while I was marching with James Top while he was on his way to the monument. I wasn't able to go all the way to the monument with James because of those conditions. So
yeah, I was with you that day, actually, marching through there, and then it was, at least I was able to finish that march. That was pretty special. Oh, now that you mentioned James too, what I just got as well. You can see that.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy about it. I just got this the other day, thanks to Wild Bill Riddell.
Nice. Yeah, it's a beautiful print.
Pretty special.
That's the print that he's shown for those of you just listening of James when he arrived at the monument and he put his hand on the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier and broke down. It's a great shot in black and white, and we have it on our merch shop there for Veterans for Freedom. We've actually been selling that as a means of raising money for James since the very beginning, and I'm trying to do a better job of highlighting these things. Like, we don't like to brag. We try to be the quiet professionals and modest and all that stuff, but we're just getting attacked all the time.
I shared it out. Send it my way. I'll brag for you guys. If you can't, you guys being modest professionals, I'll brag it out for you guys anytime. But yeah, for people that don't know, these are still available, and there's a limited number. There was 250 originally. 25 of them went to the Canada Marches team, and then the rest were available. I think over 100 are sold. From what I understand now too, that money, like, so the proceeds, James they came out with a statement, but if you look on the website, there's 3 different areas that the proceeds from this and some other stuff will go to now that James's court martial and that is wrapped up. He wants that to go somewhere else. I think Valor Law. There's a soldier that's recently become homeless. Quite the story. There's a few different things on there. So if you're interested, check it out. V4F Shop.
Yeah, and just so everybody's tracking what Dacey's saying there is James had enough money to cover his legal fees and came out only days after his courts martial concluded and said, I'm good, guys. So whatever money remains, I don't need it. We can give it to other people who need it. So that's where the money's going. It's always going to people who are suffering under this tyranny in Canada. So
yeah, and I mean, like James has always been such a stand-up guy, a fine example in every way, and this is just another one, right? Finishes that up, and right away he wants to make sure that the people that need it get the help they need. So, just much respect to James.
Yeah, he really is a great ambassador for all of us, I think. And here is Dacey again. He says, stand with Josh. Attend Josh Alexander's appeal hearing, Renfrew County Catholic District School Board, November 15th and 17th, 2023. So that would have been just a few days ago. This hearing is to determine whether the school board will confirm, vary, or quash any or all of Josh's suspensions and exclusions. So here is Dacey and Josh.
Hey, Dacey here. I'm with Josh Alexander. Josh Alexander has been in a 1-year ongoing battle with his school. He stuck up for a female student, quoted scripture. A year later, maybe, where are you at and what's coming up this week?
Yeah, so I've been excluded from school for 2 years now. One of those I've already served, and I'm told that I may be allowed back with negotiation, of course, after the 2024 school year is over. I was excluded, obviously, for quoting scripture and for speaking out against the gender ideology in the schools, and for mainly for speaking out for my female classmates who were uncomfortable with males in their washrooms and changing rooms. The school tried to dodge all my appeals, but I eventually won the Superior Court. And this week on the 15th, Wednesday, and the 17th, Friday, the school board is forced to hear my appeals. Myself and my lawyer, James Kitchen from Liberty Coalition Canada, will be bringing our case before the board and the trustees, and they will decide whether all the disciplinary actions taken against me will be upheld or whether my rights will be upheld.
Okay, so, and I guess that's a close, only you will be in for those hearings?
Yeah, so there's going to be a rally outside of the board office that's been organized. It'll be for both Wednesday and Friday morning. I believe the scheduled time right now is 9. It's probably best to show up a little before then for the arrival. But we'll have a couple rallies there. But unfortunately, the board has once again decided to do their dirty work in private, and they don't want the rest of the world to see what's happening. But I will be giving updates and keeping everybody posted on what's going on there.
Perfect. And where is the rally?
It'll be outside the Renfrew County Catholic District School Board in Pembroke, Ontario, and I've posted the address on all of my social media. Just Google that and you'll find their headquarters.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Josh. I'll be there, and we'll have more coming on this story.
Sounds good. God bless you all.
There you go. So that already happened, Dacey?
Yeah, so that was on Wednesday and Friday of this week. So it was basically 2 full days. Like it actually went kind of late the second day. So it was Josh in there, his lawyer. Nobody else was allowed in. His lawyer appeared via Zoom or remotely, and it was school board lawyers, like school board people, all against Josh in there for 2 days. Basically, he went in there to make his case, and we have a little update from him at the end of this. Actually, they also tried to put a publication ban on the whole thing. So crazy people. So not only they do it behind closed doors, they don't even want you talking about it.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, the state of censorship and tyranny in Canada here right now. And here's Josh. Is this Josh's dad, I think?
Yeah, that's Matt. Yeah, he's also a member of Veterans for Freedom.
Yeah, that's right. I actually haven't met Matt in person before, but I understand that he is a member of Veterans for Freedom. Yeah. And here he is supporting his son Josh, very courageous man, standing up against all of this tyranny, and especially speaking out on the gender ideology and the shared bathrooms and school policy. So
I'm not sure if you can see it there, but I think there was a quote from his dad that was pretty nice. I don't know.
It's right here. He says, proud of this fine young man fighting against a team of lawyers and an administrative staff in a room alone, tough as nails and smart as a whip. Yeah, I think that's very well said. I said the same thing about Josh. He's like the biggest stud in Canada right now. So, man, oh man, he's got courage in spades.
Yeah, and I mean, just it's so inspiring, and to watch his example. You know, everyone that spends time with him or around him ends up a stronger, better person just by being near him and seeing his example. So couldn't be prouder of him or to be doing work with him. It's an honor, an honor.
And here is Dacey, and he's quoting Matt Alexander again. Proud of this fine young man fighting against a team of lawyers and administrative staff in a room alone, tough as nails and smart as a whip. And here's a quick video montage of what's going on outside the school board at the time of his hearing.
Oh, he's my pride and joy. That's my boy.
It's quite fitting that there's they have scripture on their sign, and they have like an every child matters thing that comes up. So his dad is just standing there pointing out that every child matters here except Josh, clearly.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like the gaslighting is strong.
Yeah, exactly. That is kind of the irony in all of the messaging here is they care about every form of diversity except the diversity of opinion, ideas, diversity of thought. And every child matters except for any child who's not in the woke cult.
Exactly.
Yeah. And here is Dacey again. He says, stand with Josh. Josh Alexander's appeal hearing with the Renfrew County Catholic District School Board continues today, and a decision is expected. The hearing is to determine whether the school board will confirm, vary, or quash any of Josh's suspensions or exclusions. So, oh, here we go. I really dig the Veterans for Freedom patch too. Gotta get me a jacket.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
I just have a vest, so I got to get something for the winter, I guess. There's Wild Bill.
Yeah, he's got the same patch.
Yeah, that's right. Bill and also Chris Deering are making a trend. My lest we forget hat here with the less cross out. So, yeah, guys, make a trend. Yeah, nice to see all those supporters out there. All kinds of great people, eh?
Yeah, and like you say, I mean, we had it was interesting. So you have families. We had a woman and her younger daughters out there supporting. You know, we have Bill. We have seniors. We have like real diversity, right? It's just Canadians coming out to support what's right. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, no,
and it was not wasn't a nice day, right? Like it was chilly. One of the days was chilly and raining. We couldn't get inside, and still a large number of people were out there both days. And a good chunk of them stayed around for the whole day, both days. So it's great to see that Josh has that support and that there's people that really are behind him. You know, if you just read what's said, you'd think that that there was you might get a skewed perspective, but there really are a lot of people that are like-minded and support what Josh is doing and what's going on here. So.
Yeah, I tend to agree, and we do the best we can to sort of highlight those signs of hope and signs that the tide is turning as much as we can, because there's an awful lot of darkness out there right now. And somebody like Josh Alexander, man, is just like a beacon of hope, I think, to us all, especially given his age. Like we're all really worried about the kids right now, especially Gen Z, 20% of them identifying as LGBT. And just to give you a frame of reference, only 2% of the boomer generation identifies. So, it's a social contagion. They're being brainwashed in the schools, and
mind virus.
It's really easy to get black pilled about the future, but when you see guys like this, it just it really just fills me with hope.
It's something that's helped me keep going a lot of times. Like that hope is it can't be understated, right? Like there's times where I'm in the middle of some pretty nasty stuff, and I'm kind of covering stuff that's a little concerning or whatever. But you see stuff like this, and the stuff I do with Save Canada, man, it always re-energizes me, and these young people have given me incredible hope. They continue to. So
yeah, And here is Dacey again. He says, update. Josh Alexander's 2-day hearing with Renfrew County Catholic District School Board regarding his suspensions and exclusions have concluded, but no decision was handed down today. Josh gives us his thoughts on the hearing here. So here we go.
All right, so I'm here with Josh Alexander after the second day of your hearing. How did things go?
Yeah, so today was the final day of our hearing. I ended up testifying for about 5 hours over the last 2 days. The board got to hear me express my beliefs, my valid concerns, and my defense to many of the allegations that have been put against me by staff, students, and parents in the community. So yeah, I stated my views. That went fairly well. The board resorted to hearsay. They protected their principal, their clinics from being cross-examined. However, they still were, the committee allowed written statements from him that were simply hearsay from other students. So that was obviously a little bit unjust and unfair. Our witness was allowed to be cross-examined, yet theirs wasn't. But all in all, our argument was pretty strong. I'm very happy with it. It couldn't have gone much better. And we'll see if the committee is just in their decision.
And when are you expecting a decision?
At this point, we have no idea when the decision will be. I have no reason to believe it'll be quick. They told me there will be a delay because of the write-ups and whatnot, but yeah, I couldn't tell you what time it'll be.
And so in the meantime, you're still just in limbo, so to speak?
Yeah, I'm still not allowed at school. Again, they're looking into 2 suspensions, all the exclusions, and basically any disciplinary action taken against me, which includes the most recent exclusion, which has me kicked out until the end of 2024.
So that's another full year, basically.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for the update, Josh.
No worries. God bless.
Thank you.
So he's kicked out of school as long as I'm kicked out of Ottawa. Holy smokes! End of 2024.
Yeah. So he's been out for a year, and he's still facing another full year of this exclusion order, which is an interesting thing. He hasn't been expelled. This exclusion order and these exclusions are basically an end around the rules. Like, you can be given this without having really done anything, or they haven't proved that he's done anything. He's been accused of making people feel unsafe or of creating an unsafe environment somehow with his mere presence. But this exclusion thing is an end around the rules.
Right. So instead of a suspension or an expulsion, they just invent a new word. They reimagine the policy, just like they reimagine the Emergency Measures Act. In order to just do whatever the hell they want to.
Yeah, and then they can arbitrarily apply it to anyone they want for basically any reason, right? They say, yeah, well, students are unsafe.
Yeah,
they don't provide any evidence or explain how, but feelings.
And that is the essence of totalitarianism right there. It's the arbitrarity and caprice in the application of power. So, that brings us
with that, we're not expecting the decision, I don't think, anytime soon. And it's hard to know what will really come of that. I mean, I tend to think it's just they're just going through the motions. These people have not been fair at all from the start. I doubt they will be fair now. They didn't, the witnesses that were there supposed to be testifying against Josh weren't even there. There were statements and, like you said, hearsay. So, it's already a bit of a kangaroo. It's not a kangaroo hearing. I don't have huge hopes for something getting turned around, but this, like anything, is a step in the process. And you get through this, depending on what happens there will be more things that could happen later. But
yeah,
I'm not holding my breath for them to suddenly come around and start following the law and being fair.
Yeah. I don't recommend holding your breath.
The track record's not great.
No, not at all. Okay, folks, that brings us all the way around to the Veterans for Freedom website. So go and check us out there at v4f.ca. And I'm just showing you the support fund here. You can sign up to donate to the support fund to help provide assistance to any Canadians who are suffering under the current tyranny. And you can sign up for a subscription anywhere $5 to $1,000 a month and basically put in your own amount if you want to. If you don't want to use a credit card, you can set up an e-transfer to go to fund@veteransforfreedom.ca. So that's fund@veterans4 freedom.ca with the auto deposit enabled. But if you're not able to do that, use the password fund for freedom. That's all caps fund, number 4, all caps freedom. And we'll get that off to a worthy cause. I'll just show you really quickly as an example here where our here it is from last month's donations. So everybody who donates gets a chance to vote on where the funds goes. And last month's winner was Answers for Sean. Answers for Sean is not only is not just an ordinary fundraiser. It is a mission for truth, justice, and accountability. We aim to raise the funds necessary to pay expert witnesses, legal fees, and disbursements required for this critical legal battle against the government. The goal of our collective effort is to obtain justice for Sean and his family and set legal precedent, ensuring no life is lost in vain and that those in power are held accountable for their actions. And there's a Give, Send, Go that's set up to that one. It's givesendgo.com/ all caps Golf Alpha Whiskey Yankee X-ray. So yeah, please give generously for Answer for Sean. He has standing in the federal courts right now, which is good. That's a very positive development. And I believe Peter McCullough is already recruited to be an expert witness with respect to vaccine injury and how this could have impacted Sean. And just so everybody knows, Sean took the vax in order to play hockey and is no longer with us. So his father is on a crusade, and we should certainly support him. Some of the other contenders here were Kimberly Newdorf. She has over $7,000 in fines for arranging peaceful protests against government mandates. And Sarah Kahunian, and she is the founder of Canadian Frontline Nurses, who is also facing disciplinary action from her professional association. And everybody had the opportunity to set up their 10% of their donation to go to Operation Trauma Recovery Podcast. That's Mark Minke's podcast. He does some great work over there, a fellow veteran. And it's called Operation Tango Romeo, as in trauma recovery. Yeah.
Yeah, Phil was on that recently too, I guess. That's interesting. Stuff comes full circle, eh?
Yeah, it's
and
it's a tight community.
This is quite an initiative. Yeah, this is an incredible initiative too. For people that don't know about this Veterans for Freedom Fund, I highly suggest you go take a look. And like everything V4F does, it's all transparent. You have a say in where the money goes. And it's really, really an incredible thing. And it wouldn't take all that many Canadians know, like if a few thousand people are giving $5 or like $10 a month, man, that can make a huge difference for some of these people. And each month you can help a different person. So it's an incredible initiative. Hopefully some people check it out, and it would be nice to see this start to grow because it could really do some good.
Yeah, I think so too. And the left has been organizing for decades, and they have all these different legal funds set up to sue various people and engage in this lawfare to bankrupt people. So this could be a potential way to fight back in situations like that as well. Whether we're talking about the CCP setting up legal funds, or there are certain Islamist organizations out there affiliated with, like the Muslim Brotherhood and things like that, who just go after people who try to expose any corruption. So, there's a real need for this, I think, for kind of regular freedom-loving, principled people to find ways to protect themselves. So we're doing everything we can here to help people with legal fees, to help them with, whatever the contributors tend or want to. Wherever they want to send the funds. So we're really proud of this around here. So it's great. It's a great initiative. And another thing that we're doing here is we have Fishman's Fraud, which is a book that Amazon wouldn't publish initially, but I think is published now. And while they were unable to publish this book on Amazon, the author is this is not even their first book. She's a registered nurse, as you can see, and a PhD in statistics. And the book is called Fishman's Fraud: The Rise of Canadian Hate Science. So you can also purchase that on the Veterans for Freedom website, and support a courageous, integral author. And I believe she actually gets more money selling it on our website than she does on Amazon. And we all know that Amazon is evil. Jeff Bezos is a boomer male who wants to soak up all the wealth. and do everything he can to destroy small businesses and his competitors and the generations coming up behind him, whether it's supporting a $15 an hour minimum wage that other retailers can't afford, or whether it's closing down small businesses and forcing everybody to buy their stuff online or go to Costco, the corporations, that kind of thing. The name of the game is to destroy all the wealth of the other generations and soak it up into the boomer investment class. So, and you can also check us out, Veterans for Freedom, on Awake Freedom TV on Roku. So Awake Freedom TV is a channel that's all about Canadian freedom. So we have all kinds of different contributors to that channel as well. And the Veterans for Freedom podcast is a show that's available on that Roku channel. Oh, sorry. And that brings us all the way back to Mark Twain. He says, worrying is like paying a debt you don't owe. I think I read this in some of my philosophy pursuits as well. This is a common theme throughout it all. And I can't remember who said it, but it was something to the effect of, all the worst things in my life never happened. Don't burn yourselves out and waste all kinds of energy worrying about worst case scenarios. That's something that we tend to do as humans. We tend to catastrophize everything and assume the worst all of the time. There's a useful exercise known as negative meditation in Stoic practices, where you basically consider the worst in order to prepare for the worst. But it's all about that emotional investment, I think, avoiding it, that is. The worrying is something that'll really wear a person down and burn them out. So please, folks, be mindful and take care of yourselves in all of this. Dacey, why don't I throw to you, brother, for the final word here before we sign off? Take her away.
Yeah. Well, it's first off, it was great to talk to you again. It's been a little while. Hopefully, we can do these a little more regularly. Start having some conversations. As far as what I've got going on, tomorrow there's tomorrow. So tomorrow I'll be on Parliament Hill. There's a bill before the Senate the bill is to exempt farmers from carbon tax. So it's quite an important bill. There's actually a member of the Liberals who admitted last week that he's been calling the Senate and interfering, basically, trying to get this bill voted down. So there's going to be a rally for the farmers on Parliament Hill tomorrow, I believe, 1:00. I'll share the details of that. Got some more interesting stuff coming up, but that's a big one that I'm kind of looking forward to. That's something pretty important. And we all know that there's the rising cost of food is hitting everyone right now. I mean, so if we can get a little relief for farmers, that could not only help save these farms that won't be sustainable the way they're going, but will also maybe have an effect on bringing down some cost of living and food prices for the Canadian public too. So hopefully we get a few people out there and we put a little pressure on the government for that.
Yeah, great work, man. And that is definitely a really important initiative too. I mean, people have to eat, and
yes,
they're making it cost prohibitive to eat. All this talk about, eating healthy and so on and so forth, and you can't even afford.
It's also concerning that they're. Sorry, yeah, it's concerning that they're blaming the grocers as well, like calling them a bunch of evil people. To me, it just sounds like they're getting ready to seize control of these guys too. They want means of production, they want means of distribution, right? It's communism 101. So we got to stay on these guys and keep the pressure on and try to get some relief from the farmers and for Canadians at large.
Yeah, 1,000%. And that is kind of the modus operandi of the tyrant too, is scapegoating. So if it's good, he gets credit, and if it's bad, it's somebody else's fault. And so they scapegoat the grocery retailers. In the case of groceries, just like they scapegoat the truckers for the kind of oppression that we've all lived under throughout the course of the last few years. So okay, I'll throw to a couple of comments before we sign off here. And Alan is saying, truth is coming out for everything. Love you all. Right back at your brother. Thanks for tuning in. And Keith says, take care all. Take care. Bless. God bless all. And thanks, Keith. Same to you, bro. And Vikram is saying, it's going to be important to restore Canada to its former glory. Yeah, and it's a monumental undertaking as well. So it's going to take a lot of people, I think, making a concerted effort over the course of the next few years. It is going to take years. It's not going to happen overnight. There's a lot of frustration all the time. I see, in the freedom movement where people are saying nothing is happening. Well, all kinds of things are happening. We can see these.
Yeah, tons.
Yeah, so much. Court cases, lawsuits, Josh's hearing, like people are in this fight. It's just, you got to be in it for the long haul, because it's a war and it's not going to be won in a single battle.
There's touching on that too. Actually, there's I plan to start covering some of this stuff more, but there is a lot of really interesting things going on at local and municipal politic levels that are having some real effects already. And like Drew McGilvery always says, like, localism defeats globalism, right? So we need to start locally, and the downstream effect. It's not as pretty, and it's not as exciting, and it's not an instant win. But the way that we do win this ultimately is, you start with you work out to your family, your community, and that's how we'll win this. It's going to be work. It's going to take time, but I believe that to be true, that localism really will defeat globalism.
And the globalists are reaching into the local level and going right after the municipalities with a lot of these.
Yeah, they've seized control there in a lot of places where the councillors and the mayors and the people involved don't really even understand what's happening, that they're under this pressure and the way that it's operating. So once these people are, you bring this information forward, a lot of people really wake up to it and are like, holy crap, let's put an end to this pretty quick. And at that level, you can actually have some effect and make change fairly quickly.
Yeah. That's 100%. And Garden Flower on Rumble is saying, great coverage on different issues. Thanks, Garden Flower. And please keep tuning in. I do this 5 days a week, man. So lots more where that came from. And Messiah 854 is saying, love the shirt, Jeff. Yeah, this is one of my favorites here. It says socialist distancing. Stay away from socialists.
Smart advice.
Yeah, 1,000%. All right, Chris, brother. Thanks a lot for being with us here today. It's always great having you, man. Muckraker Monday is like one of my favorite recurring themes. So I don't know. Anytime you have stuff you want to talk about, brother, I think you just send it to me and let me know. Let's do a Muckraker Monday. It doesn't have to be every week, every second week, or just whenever you have something to talk about, man.
Sounds good.
You're always welcome back.
I really appreciate it. I love coming on, so we'll make sure to try to make this a little more regular too. That'd be awesome.
Perfect. Sounds great, bro. All right, everybody. That's it for us today. So till next time, stay frosty and stay safe out there.